All right, I'm finna start. The Proverb of Solomon, son of David, king of Yasharal. In order to make known words of wisdom and discipline, to make words of understanding discernible, to accept wise discipline, righteousness, justice, and fairness, to provide simpletons with cleverness, a youth with knowledge and design, that a wise one may hear and increase his learning, and a discerning one may acquire strategies, almost says strategies, to understand parable and epigram, the words of the wise and their enigmas. The fear of Yah is the beginning of knowledge. Foolish ones scorn wisdom and discipline. Hear, my child, the discipline of your father, and do not forsake the teaching of your mother, for they are an adornment of grace for your head and a chain for your neck. My child, if sinners seduce you, do not be enticed. If they say, come with us, let us wait in ambush for bloodshed, let us lurk for an innocent one without cause. Like the grave, let us swallow them alive, whole, like those descending to the pit. All precious wealth is found with them. We will fill our houses with booty. Cast your lot among us. There will be one pouch for all of us. My child, do not walk on the way with them. Withhold your feet from their pathways. For their feet run to evil, and they hasten to spill blood. For the net seems spread out with free bait in the eyes of every winged creature. But they wait in ambush for their blood and lurk for their souls. Such are the ways of all the spoilers. They take the souls of wealth's owners. Wisdom sings out in the street. It gives forth its voice in the squares. It cries at the head of noisy thrones. At the entrances of the gates in the city, it speaks its words. How long, O simpletons, will you love folly? Scoffers covet mockery for themselves, and fools hate knowledge. Return to my reproof. Behold, I will express my spirit to you. I will make my words known to you. But because I have called you and you refused, because I stretched forth my hand and no one listened, and you reject my every counsel, and desire not my reproof, I too will laugh at your misfortune and mock when your dread arrives. When your fear arrives as sudden darkness, and misfortune comes like a storm, when affliction and oppression come upon you, then they will call me, but I will not answer. They will search for me, but they will not find me, because they hated knowledge and did not choose fear of Yahweh. They did not desire my counsel. They spurned all my reproof. They will eat of the fruit of their way and will be sated with their own schemes. For the tranquility of the simpletons will kill them, and the contentment of fools will destroy them. But he who listens to me will dwell securely and will be undisturbed by evil. Chapter 2. Shalom, Major. My child, if you accept my words and treasure my commandments with yourself, to make your ears attentive to wisdom, incline your heart to understanding. For only if you call out to understanding and give forth your voice to damn, what the hell? To discernment. I'm stuttering and shit. If you seek it as if it was silver, if you search for it as if it were hidden treasures, then you will understand the fear of Yahweh and discover the knowledge of Elohim. For Yahweh grants wisdom. From his mouth comes knowledge and understanding. He has secured the eternal Torah for the upright. It is a shield for those who walk in innocence, to safeguard the paths of justice, for he protects the way of his devout ones. Then you will understand righteousness and justice, fairness in every good course, when wisdom enters your heart and knowledge becomes pleasant to your soul. A wise design will watch over you, and understanding will safeguard you to rescue you from the way of evil, from a person who speaks duplicities, from those who forsake paths of uprightness to walk in ways of darkness, who are glad to do evil, and who rejoice in the duplicities of evil, whose ways are crooked and who go astray in their courses, to save you from the strange woman, from the foreign woman, whose words are glib, who forsakes the husband of her youth, and forgets the covenant of her Elohim. For her house declines toward death, and her course toward the lifeless, and all who come to her do not return, nor did they attain the paths of life, in order that you may walk in the way of the good and keep the paths of the righteous. For the upright will dwell in the land forever, and the wholehearted will remain in it. But the wicked will be cut off from the land, and the faithless uprooted from it. Chapter 3. My child, do not forget my Torah, and let your heart guard my commandments. For they add to you length of days and years of life and peace. Kindness and truth will not forsake you. Bind them upon your neck, inscribe them on a tablet of your heart, and you will find favor and goodly wisdom in the eyes of Elohim and man. Trust in Yahweh with all your heart, and do not rely on your own understanding. In all your ways know him, and he will smooth your paths. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear Yahweh and turn away from evil. It will be health to your navel and marrow to your bones. Honor Yahweh with your wealth, and with the first of all your produce. Then your storehouses will be filled with plenty, and the wine of your vats will burst forth. My child, do not despise Yahweh's discipline, and do not despise his reproof. For Yahweh admonishes the one he loves, like a father, he mollifies the child. Praiseworthy is a person who has found wisdom, a person who can derive understanding from it. For its commerce is better than the commerce of silver, and its produce is better than fine gold. Length of hold on, I'm tripping. It is more precious than pearls, and all your desires cannot compare to it. Length of days is at its right, at its left, wealth and honor. Its ways are the ways of pleasantness, and all its pathways of peace. It is a tree of life to those who grasp it, and its supporters are praiseworthy. Yahweh founded the earth with wisdom. He established the heavens with understanding. Through his knowledge the depths were cleaved, and the heavens dripped dew. My child, do not let them stray from your eyes. Safeguard the eternal Torah and its wise design. They will be life to your soul and a graceful ornament for your neck. Then you will walk on your way securely, and your foot will not stumble. When you lie down, you will not fear. You will lie down, and your sleep will be pleasant. You will not fear sudden terror, nor the holocaust of the wicked when it comes. For Yahweh will be your security, and he will guard your feet from entrapment. Do not withhold good from its rightful recipients when you have the power to do it. Do not tell your neighbor, leave and come back. Tomorrow I will give it, when it is already by you. Do not devise evil against your neighbor, one who dwells securely near you. Do not quarrel with any man without cause, if he has done you no evil. Do not envy the man of violence, and do not choose any of his ways. For one who deviates is an abomination to Yahweh, and his counsel is with the upright. Yahweh's blight is upon the house of the wicked. He blesses the abode of the righteous. If one is drawn to scoffers, he will scoff. But if one is drawn to the humble, he will find favor. The wise inherit honor, and fools generate disgrace. Chapter 4. Hear, children, the father's discipline, and be attentive to know understanding. For I have given you a good teaching. Do not forsake my Torah. For I was a son to my father, a tender and only son before my mother. He taught me and said to me, let my words sustain your heart. Observe my commandments and live. Acquire wisdom, acquire understanding. Do not forget and do not stray from the words of my mouth. Do not forsake the Torah, and it will guard you. Love it, and it will protect you. The beginning of wisdom is to acquire wisdom. From your every acquisition, acquire understanding. Caress it, and it will uplift you. It will honor you while you embrace it. It will set an adornment of grace upon your head. It will bestow a crown of splendor upon you. Hear, my child, take my words, and they will add years of life to you. I instruct you in the way of wisdom. I lead you in courses of fairness. When you walk, your steps will not be constricted, and when you run, you will not stumble. Hold fast the discipline. Do not let it go. Guard it, for it is your life. Do not come to the path of the wicked, and do not walk in the way of evildoers. Reject it. Do not pass on it. Veer away from it and pass on. For the wicked cannot sleep if they do not do evil. Their sleep will be robbed if they do not cause others to stumble. For their bread is the bread of wickedness, and they drink the wine of violence. The path of the righteous is like the glow of sunlight, growing brighter until high noon. But the way of the wicked is like darkness. They know not upon what they stumble. My child, be attentive to my speech. Incline your ear to my words. Let them not depart from your eyes. Guard them within your heart. For they are life to he who finds them, and healing for all his flesh. More than you guard anything, safeguard your heart, for from it are the sources of life. Remove from yourself distortion of the mouth, and distance perversity of lips from yourself. Let your eyes look ahead, and your eyelids will direct your path. Weigh the course of your foot, and all your ways will be established. Do not deviate right or left. Remove your foot from evil. Chapter 5. My child, be attentive to my wisdom, give ear to my understanding. To heed wise designs and let your lips guard wisdom. For the lips of a forbidden woman drip honey, and her palate is smoother than oil. But her end is as bitter as wormwood, as sharp as a double-edged sword. Her feet lead to death, her footsteps support her to the grave, lest you liken the path of life to hers. Her courses wander astray, you cannot know. And now, my children, listen to me and do not stray from the words of my mouth. Distance your way from her, and do not come near the door of her house, lest you give your glory to others and your remaining years to the cruel one. Let strangers be sated with your strength, and your painfully earned wealth be in a stranger's house. You will groan at your life's end when your flesh and your body perish. Then you will say, how could I have hated discipline, and my heart spurned rebuke? I have not listened to the voice of my masters, and not inclined my ear to my teachers. For a pittance of enjoyment, I was into everything evil, in the presence of congregation and assembly. Drink water from your own cistern and flowing water from your own well. Then your springs will be spread outwards, streams of water in the thoroughfares. They will be yours alone, strangers not sharing them with you. Your source will be blessed, and you will rejoice with the wife of your youth, a beloved hind inspiring favor. Her breast will sate you at all times. You will always be intoxicated with her love. Why then, my son, should you err with a strange woman and embrace an alien bosom? For a man's ways are opposite Yahweh's eyes, and he weighs all his courses. The iniquities of the wicked one will trap him, and he will be suspended in the cords of his sins. He will die for refusing discipline and for the abundant foolishness with which he strayed. Chapter 6. My child, if you have been a guarantor for your friend, if you have given your handshake for a stranger, you have been trapped by the words of your mouth, snared by the words of your mouth. Do this, therefore, my child, and be rescued, for you have come into your fellow's hand. Go humble yourself before him and placate your fellow. Give not sleep to your eyes, nor slumber to your eyelids. Be rescued like a deer from the hunter's hand, and like a bird from the fowler. Go to the ant, you sluggard. See its ways and grow wise. Though there is neither officer nor guard nor ruler over her, she prepares her food in the summer and stores up her food in the harvest time. How long will you recline, O sluggard? When will you arise from your sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to recline, and your poverty will come like a traveler, and your lacking like an armed man. The lawless man is a man of iniquity. He goes forth with distortion of the mouth. He winks with his eyes, shuffles with his feet, points with his fingers. Duplicity in his heart. He plots evil all the time. He stirs up strife. Therefore his undoing will come suddenly. He will be broken in an instant without healing. Yahweh hates these six, but the seventh is the abomination of his soul. Haughty eyes, a false tongue, and hands spilling innocent blood, a heart plotting iniquitous thoughts, feet hastening to run to evil, a false witness spouting lies, and one who stirs up strife among brothers. Heed, my son, the command of your father, and do not forsake the teaching of your mother. Tie them to your heart always, and twine them upon your neck. As you go forth, it will guide you. As you recline, it will guard you. And when you awake, it will converse with you. For a commandment is a lamp, and the Torah is light. And reproving discipline is the way of life, to guard you from an evil woman, from the smoothest of the foreign woman's tongue. Do not desire her beauty in your heart, and do not let her captivate you with her eyelids, because for the sake of a licentious woman, one may beg for a loaf of bread. An adulterous woman can ensnare a precious soul. Can a man draw fire into his bosom without his clothes being burned? Can a man walk on coals without his feet being scorched? So is one who consorts with his friend's wife. Anyone who touches her will not be exonerated. A thief is not overly scorned if he steals to satisfy his soul when he is hungry. When he is found, he would even pay sevenfold, even give all the wealth of his house. But he who commits adultery with a woman is lacking in understanding heart. A destroyer of his soul will do this. Plague and shame will he find, and his disgrace will not be erased. For jealousy ignites a husband's wrath, and he will not have mercy on the day of revenge. He will not be appeased by any ransom, and will not relent, though the bride be made great. Chapter 7. My child, heed my words and store up my commandments with yourself. Heed my commandments and live, and heed my Torah as the apple of your eyes. Bind them on your fingers, inscribe them on the tablet of your heart. Say to wisdom, you are my sister, and call understanding a friend, that they may safeguard you from a forbidden woman, from a strange woman who makes her words glib. For I have looked out from the window of my house, through my lattice, and I saw among the fools. I discerned among the youths a lad who lacked an understanding heart, passing through the marketplace near her corner, and he strode toward her house. In the twilight, as daylight wanes, in the blackness of night and darkness, then behold, a woman approached him, bedecked as a harlot and with siege in her heart. She coos and she entices, her feet do not dwell at home. Sometimes in the courtyard, sometimes in the street, she lurks at every corner. She seized him and kissed him. She thrust forth her face and said to him, I have vowed to bring peace offerings, and today I have fulfilled my vow. That is why I went out towards you, to seek your countenance, and I have found you. I have decked my bed with spreads. Carved bedposts are hung with Egyptian linen. I have perfumed my bed with myrrh, aloes, and cinnamon. Come, let us sate ourselves with love until the morning. Let us rejoice with acts of love, for my husband is not at home. He has gone on a distant journey. He has taken the money pass with him. He will come home at the appointed time. She sways him with her abundant sophistication. She thrusts him with the glibness of her lips. He follows her unexpectedly, like an ox to the slaughter, rushing like a venomous snake to discipline the foolish one, until the arrow splits his liver. He is like a bird hurrying to the trap, unaware that its life will be lost. So now, children, listen to me and heed the words of my mouth. Do not incline your heart to her ways. Do not stray in her pathways, for she has felt many victims. The number of her slain is huge, and she got bodies. Her house is the way to the grave, descending to the chambers of death. Chapter 8. Surely wisdom will call out, and understanding will raise a voice. Atop the heights along the way, at the place where pathways diverge, she stands. Near the gateways of the city, at the approach to its entrances, she cries out, To you, O man, do I call, and my voice is to the sons of man. Simpletons understand cleverness, fools understand your heart. Listen, for I will speak noble thoughts. The opinion of my lips will be fair words, for my palate will utter truth. Wickedness is an abomination to my lips. All the words of my mouth are with righteousness. They contain no twisting or perversion. They are all correct to one who understands, and upright to those who find knowledge. Accept my discipline and not silver, for knowledge is choicer than fine gold. For wisdom is better than pearls, and all desires cannot compare to it. I am wisdom. I dwell in cleverness. I provide knowledge of designs. Fear of Yahweh is hatred of evil. I hate pride and haughtiness, the way of evil and a duplicitous mouth. With me there is counsel and wisdom. I am understanding. I am understanding. With me is might. Through me, kings will reign and nobles will decree righteousness. Through me, officials will rule and nobles, all who judge righteously. I love those who love me, and those who search for me shall find me. Wealth and honor are with me, great fortune and righteousness. My fruits are better than fine gold, even choice gold, and my produce is choicer than silver. I lead in the path of righteousness amid the pathways of justice. I have what I have what to bequeath to those who love me, and I shall fill their storehouses. Yahweh made me as the beginning of his way, before the deeds of yore. I have reigned for all time from the beginning, from before there was the earth, when there were no depths, I was formed, when there were no pools rich with water, before the mountains were settled, before the hills I was formed, when he had not yet made earth and its environs, or the first dust of the inhabited world. When he prepared the heavens, I was there. When he etched out the globe upon the face of the depths, when he strengthened the heavens above, when he fortified the well springs of the depth, when he set the sea for its limit, and the waters will not transgress his word, when he forged the foundations of the earth, I was then his nursling. I was then his delight every day, playing before him at all times, playing in the inhabited areas of his earth. My delights are with the sons of man. And now, children, listen to me. Praiseworthy are those who heed my way. Hearken unto discipline and grow wise, and you will not reject wisdom. Praiseworthy is the person who listens to me, to hasten to my doors every day, to guard the doorposts of my entrance ways. For one who finds me finds life, and he elicits favor from Yahweh. But one who sins against me despoils his soul. All who hate me love death. Yeah, and that was clearly wisdom speaking through personification. It wasn't JC talking. Chapter 9. With all forms of wisdom did she build her house. She carved out its 7 pillars. She prepared her meat, mixed her wine, and also set her table. She had sent out her maidens to announce upon the city heights, whoever is a simpleton, let him turn here. As for the one who lacks an understanding heart, she says to him, come and partake of my food and drink the wine that I mixed. Leave your paths, O simpletons, and live, and stride in the way of understanding. But one who chastises the scoffer acquires shame for himself, and he who rebukes the wicked acquires a blemish. Do not rebuke a scoffer lest he hate you. Rebuke a wise man, and he will love you. Give the wise man, and he will become even wiser. Make known to the righteous, and he will add to his learning. The beginning of wisdom is fear of Yahweh, and the beginning of understanding is knowledge of the sacred. For through me your days will be increased, and they will increase years of life for you. If you have become wise, you have become wise for your own good. And if you have scoffed, you alone will bear responsibility. The woman of foolishness croons, the woman of simpleness who does not know anything. She sits at the door of a house, on a chair at the city heights, to call out to the passerby, who make their ways upright. Whoever is a simpleton, let him turn here. As for the one who lacks an understanding heart, she says to him, stolen waters are sweet, and bread eaten in secret places is pleasing. But he does not know that dead men are there, that those she invites are in the deepest grave. Chapter 10. A wise son gladdens his father, but a foolish son is his mother's sorrow. Treasures of wickedness will not avail, but charity rescues from death. Yahweh will not bring hunger upon the souls of the righteous, but the destructiveness of the wicked shall batter them. A deceitful scale makes a pauper, but the hand of the diligent brings prosperity. A wise son harvests in the summer, but the shameful son is fast asleep at harvest time. Blessings will descend upon the head of the righteous one, but their violence will smother the mouth of the wicked. Remembrance of a righteous one brings blessing, but the name of the wicked will rot. The wise of heart will seize good deeds, but the foolish one's lips will become weary. He who walks in innocence will walk securely, but one who perverts his ways will be broken. He who winks his eye instills trepidation, but the foolish one's lips will become weary. The mouth of the righteous one is a source of life, but the mouth of the wicked conceals their intended violence. Hatred arouses strife, but love covers all offenses. Paul stole that shit right there. In the lips of an understanding one will be found wisdom, but a rod must be used on the back of one who lacks an understanding heart. The wise conceal knowledge, but the mouth of the fool brings ruin near. A rich man's wealth is his citadel of strength, but poverty is the ruin of the impoverished. The deed of a righteous person brings life, but the produce of a wicked one brings lacking. To heed discipline is a path to life, but one who abandons reproof goes astray. One who conceals hatred has lying lips, but one who utters slander is a fool. And in abundance of words, offense will not be lacking, but one who restrains his lips is wise. The tongue of a righteous person is choice silver, but the heart of the wicked is minute. Yeah, that's why I don't really talk too much. I make sure I try to keep my words few, short and sweet. Make sure I don't say nothing going off. The lips of the righteous one will nourish many, but the foolish will die through lack of an understanding heart. It is the blessing of Yahweh that enriches, and one need not add toil with it. It is like sport to a fool to carry out his evil design. Wisdom is like sport to a man of understanding. When a wicked one fears, what a wicked one fears will come upon him, and Elohim will fulfill the desire of the righteous. When the storm passes, a wicked one is no more, but a righteous one is the foundation of the world. Like vinegar to the teeth and like smoke to the eyes, so is a sluggard to those who send him. The fear of Yahweh will increase days, but the years of the wicked will be shortened. The expectation of the righteous is gladness, but the hope of the wicked will go lost. The way of Yahweh is a stronghold to the innocent, but a ruin to the workers of iniquity. A righteous one will never falter, but the wicked one will not dwell tranquilly in the land. The mouth of a righteous one speaks wisdom, but a duplicitous tongue will be cut off. The lips of a righteous one knows how to appease Elohim, but the mouth of the wicked is duplicitous. So that's a way to that's a kind of a way to know who really is righteous behind closed doors, like who really is righteous when nobody's looking. Because people are worried about if they're gonna die tomorrow, or they might not be here tomorrow or next week. You might not be living right. You might not be pleasing the Most High, and deep down you know it. Because me, I don't got no damn fear. He brought me through way too much. Way too much. And if I ain't calling his name, if I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do, I wouldn't be here. No, I had mad shit on me. But that's the difference between the righteous and wicked. The righteous ones know that their obedience is gonna protect them. His wings are gonna cover them. If you're doing wicked shit, if you're wicked, you're gonna worry about that. I ain't worried about a damn thing. I don't give a damn. Like, it's really, I sleep good. I don't give a fuck who hates me. I don't give a fuck saying shit against me, who threatening me. Most I already damn cursed niggas that was trying to throw curses on me. Took niggas little brother's life when he was making fun of my dead brother. Took a nigga's life that tried to take my life. Like, I don't worry about nothing, yo. Really, for real. When you're righteous, and it's not really being self-righteous, because that could be a trap too. Like, when you become self-righteous, that's when you allow pride and haughtiness and arrogance to creep in, and the Most High rejects the proud. So you got to be careful of that too. But I mean, there is a difference between the righteous and the wicked, but you also got to walk that fine line of knowing, when you do fuck up and you're not invincible, or you're not, you have the ability to fall also. And no one has ever gone their whole life without sinning, so we got to know that also. But at the end of the day, I'm saying 99.9% of the time you're doing righteousness, you ain't got to worry about dying. You ain't got to worry about nobody coming against you, saying anything. You ain't got to worry about shit. So the ones that's living in fear, they probably not doing what they supposed to do. Shalom Guni, Shalom Teferet. Did I finish that? Oh yeah, 11. Deceitful scales are an abomination of Yahweh, but a perfect weight is his desire. And that goes several ways, this verse right here. So all you people out there selling bud, you selling eighths, but you're giving them 2 grams, yeah, your ass is wicked. But also the deceitful scales, it's you're supposed to be balanced. Like when it's talking about uneven scales, you're supposed to have some balance. You know what I'm saying? Like Ecclesiastes 3 talks about, there's a time for this, there's a time for that, there's a time for war, there's a time for peace, there's a time for life, death. You gotta have balance. You can't be too soft, you know what I'm saying? But you can't be too hard. Every situation you gotta approach it with with the correct what's the word I'm thinking about? Damn, I don't know what the hell happened to my vocab. I need to start reading the dictionary again, but you know what I'm saying? You gotta come at everything with the proper procedure, and because not every situation is the same. You're a little too, might be too like 100% every day. You're like just angry every day. You gotta balance that out. Or some days, or if you go everything too soft all the time, and say you see one of your brothers getting their ass beat or a sister getting their ass beat, and you just like chilling, petting dude on the head. Nah, you whoop his ass. Or somebody's life is in danger. It's in the law to not let your brother or your neighbor's blood spill, especially if they're innocent. So you gotta walk that line. You gotta know, your scales gotta be balanced. Verse 2. When a willful sinner comes, shame comes, but with modest ones comes wisdom. The innocence of the just will guide them, but the corruption of the faithless will despoil them. Wealth will not avail in the day of wrath, but charity will rescue from death. The righteousness of the innocent one straightens his path, but the wicked one shall fall in his wickedness. The righteousness of the just will rescue them, but the faithless will be trapped in the destruction they plotted. When the wicked man dies, hope is lost, and the expectation of his offspring perishes. The righteous one is removed from affliction, but the wicked one comes in his place. That's opposite. That's opposite of what JC talking about. He talking about dying for wicked people. But here it's saying the wicked gonna be in the place of the righteous. With a flattering mouth, one corrupts his friend, but the righteous are delivered through knowledge. The city exalts in the good of the righteous, and when the wicked perish, there is glad song. Through the blessing of the upright, a city is exalted, but through the mouth of the wicked it is torn down. He who shames his friend lacks a heart, but a man of understanding will be silent. He who reveals a secret is the talebearer, but the faithful of spirit conceals a matter. Without strategies, a nation will fall, but salvation lies in much counsel. One will be utterly broken by co-signing for a stranger, but a hater of handshakes will be secure. Man, don't be making covenants with just anybody, man. The woman of grace upholds honor, but the insolent uphold wealth. A man of kindness brings good upon himself, but a cruel person troubles his flesh. The wicked one does false deeds, but one who sows righteousness has a true reward. One who gives sincere charity is consigned to life, but the pursuer of evil is consigned to his death. The perverse of heart are an abomination to Yahweh, but his desire is for those whose way is wholehearted. From hand to hand, evil will not be exonerated, but the offspring of the righteous will escape. Like a golden ring in the snout of a pig, so is a beautiful woman whose sense has departed. The lust of the righteous is only for good. The hope of the wicked is wrath. There is one who scatters and gathers more, and one who refrains from what is proper, only for a loss. The soul that blesses will grow fat, and one who sates others will himself be sated. One who withholds produce will be cursed by the nation, but blessing will be on the head of the provider. He who seeks good for others seeks Elohim's favor, but he who searches out evil for others, it will come upon him. He who trusts in his wealth, he will fall. But the righteous will sprout like foliage. One who troubles his household will inherit wind, and the foolish one will become a servant of the wise of heart. The fruit of a righteous one is a tree of life, and a wise man acquires souls. If a righteous person is punished on earth, surely a wicked one in the sinner. Chapter 12. One who loves knowledge loves discipline, but he who hates rebuke is a bore. A good man draws forth favor from Yahweh, but a scheming man causes wickedness. A man will not become established through wickedness, but the root of the righteous will not falter. And an accomplished woman is the crown of her husband, but a shameful one is like rot in his bones. The thoughts of the righteous are just, but the schemes of the wicked are deceit. The words of the wicked lie in ambush for blood, but the mouth of the upright will rescue them. The wicked are overturned and are no more, but the house of the righteous will endure. According to a man's wisdom will he be praised, but the distorted of heart will be put to shame. Better off is the lowly one who serves for his keep than the pompous one who lacks bread. The righteous one knows the needs of his animal soul, but the mercies of the wicked are cruel. He who works his soul will be sated with bread, but he who pursues vanity lacks an understanding heart. A wicked person craves spoils of evildoers, but the root of the righteous will provide for them. In the sins of the lips lies a snare of evil, but a righteous person escapes travail. From the fruit of a man's mouth he will be sated with good, for the recompense of a man's handiwork will be returned to him. The way of the foolish one is upright in his eyes, but the wise man heeds counsel. The foolish one's anger will become known on that very day, but a clever man conceals his shame. One who always spouts the truth will give righteous testimony, but a witness saying falsehoods personifies deceit. There is one who speaks harshly like piercings of a sword, but the tongue of the wise heals. True speech is established forever, but a false tongue is only for a moment. Deceit lurks in the heart of those who plot evil, but for those who counsel peace there is gladness. There will not befall a righteous man any iniquity, but the wicked are filled with evil. False lips are an abomination to Yahweh, but those who act in faith are his desire. A clever person conceals knowledge, but the heart of fools proclaims foolishness. The hand of the diligent will rule, but deceit will melt. When there is worry in a man's heart, he should suppress it. Let a good thing convert it to gladness. A righteous one has an advantage over his fellow, but the successful way of the wicked leads them astray. A deceitful person will not get to roast his catch, but the wealth of the diligent person is precious. In the pathway of charity there is life. In the pathway it leads there is no death. Chapter 13. A wise son A wise son desires a father's discipline, but a scoffer has not heard chastisement. From the fruits of man's speech he will eat good reward, but the soul of the faithless will eat violence. One who guards his mouth protects his soul, but one who opens wide his lips, that is his ruin. The soul of the sluggard lusts and has nothing, but the soul of the diligent will be fattened. A righteous person despises false matter, but a wicked person sullies and insults. Charity will guard he who is upright away, but evil will corrupt the sinner. Some pretend to be rich and have nothing, but others act poor and have great wealth. A man's wealth may redeem his soul, but only if the poor hear no chastisement. The light of the righteous will rejoice, but the lamp of the wicked shall die out. Only by willfulness is strife fomented, but wisdom is with those who take counsel. Wealth gained by vanity will diminish, but that gathered by hand will increase. A drawn out hope brings sickness of heart, but desire attained is a tree of life. He who scorns a word will cause himself injury, but he who reveres a commandment will be rewarded. The teaching of the wise man is the source of life, to turn him away from the snares of death. Good sense provides grace, but the way of the faithless is hard. Every clever person acts with knowledge, but the fool broadcasts his foolishness. The agent of a wicked person will fall into evil, but the emissary of the faithful will bring healing. Poverty and shame befall one who rejects discipline, but he who heeds rebuke will be honored. Lust of broken is sweet to the soul, but turning from evil is an abomination of fools. One who walks with the wise will grow wise, but the companion of fools will be broken. Yeah, it's true. There's a saying, they say you're a sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. You take on people's personalities and tendencies and shit like that. That's why I like chilling by myself most of the time. I don't want to inherit nobody's anything really. I want to be 100% me. So like certain people I can learn from and adopt certain like positive shit from. But other than that, I spend majority of my time by myself, even if I got people around me. I need my alone time. I tell my girl that too. I'm like, yeah, I need my, I need I like spending time with me. All right. Poverty and shame before one. I read it already. I'm tripping. Evil pursues sinners, but the righteous one will be rewarded with good. A good person will bequeath to grandchildren, but wealth of a sinner is secreted for a righteous person. Much food grows from the furrows of the poor, and substance may be swept away for lack of justice. One who spares his rod hates his child, but he who loves him disciplines him in his youth. A righteous person eats to satisfy his soul, but the stomach of the wicked will always lack. 14. The wise among women each built her house, but the foolish one tears it down with her hands. One who walks in his uprightness fears Yahweh. The perverse one, his ways shame him. In the mouth of the foolish one is the staff of pride, but the lips of the wise will guard them. Where there are no oxen, the trough is clean, but many crops come through the power of the ox. One who will not deceive is a trustworthy witness, but the spouter of deceptions is a false witness. The scoffer seeks wisdom, yet there is none, but wisdom will come easily to the understanding one. Go far away from a man who is a fool, lest you not know the lips of knowledge. The wisdom of the clever is to understand his way. The folly of fools is deceit. A guilt offering will interpose for foolish ones, but Yahweh's favor is among the upright. The heart knows its own bitterness, and no stranger will share in his joy. The house of the wicked will be destroyed, but the tent of the just will blossom. There is a way that seems right to a man, but at its end are the ways of death. Even in sporting, the heart may ache, and at the end of gladness may be sorrow. A wayward heart will be satisfied with his ways, but a good man will take leave of him. A fool believes anything, but a clever person understands it correctly. A wise man fears and turns away from evil, but a fool becomes enraged and is confident. A short-tempered person acts foolishly, and a person who designs evil is hated. Fools have inherited folly, but the clever are crowned with knowledge. I wonder what that word for crown is there. I need to get my damn. I'll come back to it later. Evildoers will grovel before good people, and the wicked at the gates of a righteous one. A poor person will be hated by even his companion, but the lovers of the rich will be many. He who shames his friend is a sinner, but praiseworthy is one who is gracious to the humble. Have the plotters of evil not gone astray? But those who plan goodness will reap kindness and truth. In all toil there will be gain, but talk of the lips brings only loss. That's facts, man. You don't talk about your plans too much. Just be about it. Just do it. The crown of the wise is their wealth, but the foolishness of fools is but foolishness. A true witness saves lives, but a spouter of deceptions saves only a man of deceit. And fear of Yahweh is a powerful stronghold, and for his children it will be a shelter. Fear of Yahweh is the source of life, to turn one away from the snares of death. A multitude of people is a king's glory, but without a regime, rulership is broken. Slowness to anger shows much to understanding, but a short-spirited person elevates foolishness. A tender heart brings healing of the flesh, but envy brings nothing of the bones, rotting of the bones. One who robs the poor disgraces his maker, but he who is gracious to the destitute honors him. In his trouble, the wicked one the wicked one is cast off from Elohim, but he who takes shelter in him remains righteous in death. Wisdom will reside in an understanding heart, but within fools it will be publicized. Charity will uplift a nation, but the kindness of regimes is a sin. The favor of the king will be upon the wise servant, but his wrath will be upon the shameful one. Well, I'm gonna look at that word up real quick. Say 14:24. Proverbs 24. The word for crown in 14:24 is atara. Yeah, you got that crown of wisdom, you got that the crown of the Most High on your head. You can't really, you know what I'm saying? You got 2 crowns on your head? Shit, you Gucci. 15. A gentle reply turns away wrath, but a galling word incites anger. The tongue of the wise will enhance wisdom, but the mouth of fools will spout foolishness. The eyes of Yahweh are everywhere, seeing the evil and the good. A soothing tongue is a tree of life, but corruption of it is damage of the spirit. A foolish one despises his father's discipline, but he who harbors reproof will become clever. The house of the righteous one is greatly fortified, but with the arrival of a wicked one it becomes sullied. The lips of the wise spread knowledge, but not so the heart of fools. The offering of the wicked is an abomination to Yahweh, but his desire is the prayer of the upright. The way of a wicked person is an abomination to Yahweh, but he loves a pursuer of righteousness. Stern discipline awaits for one who forsakes the path. One who hates reproof will die. The grave and perdition are exposed to Yahweh, surely the hearts of man. A scoffer does not like his being reproved, but he will not go to the wise. A glad heart cheers the face, but a despondent heart causes a broken spirit. An understanding heart will seek wisdom, and the mouth of fools will befriend folly. All the days of a poor man are bad, but a good-hearted person feasts perpetually. Better a little gained through fear of Yahweh than a great treasure accompanied by turmoil. Better a meal of greens where there is love than a fattened ox where there is hatred. The wrathful man incites strife, but the slow to anger calms a quarrel. The way of the sluggard is fenced with thorns, but the path of the upright is paved. No, I'm almost legally blind. I can't even fucking read right. A wise son gladdens his father, and the foolish man shames his mother. Foolishness is joy to one who lacks an understanding heart, but a man of understanding will rejoice when he walks uprightly. Thoughts are frustrated when there is no counsel, but through an abundance of counsel they will be established. A man has joy through the reply of his mouth, and how good is a word in its time. A path of life waits above for the intelligent one, so that his soul will turn away from the grave below. Yahweh will uproot the house of the arrogant, but he upholds the boundary of a widow. The abomination of Yahweh is thoughts of evil. Words of pleasantness shall be pure. One who gains through greed sullies his home, but one who hates gifts will live. The heart of a righteous person will consider what to answer, but the mouth of the wicked will spout evil. Yahweh is far from the wicked, but he hears the prayer of the righteous. Enlightened eyes will gladden the heart. Good news will fatten the bone. The ear that hears life-giving reproof will abide in the midst of the wise. He who negates discipline despises his soul, but one who listens to reproof acquires an understanding heart. Fear Yahweh is the discipline of wisdom, and humility precedes honor. (16) To man belongs the arrangements of of thoughts in his heart, but from Yahweh comes the tongue's reply. All of man's ways are pure in his own eyes, but Yahweh is in the midst of spirits. Turn your deeds towards Yahweh, and your thoughts will be set aright. Everything Yahweh has made, he made for his sake, even the evildoer for the day of retribution. Every haughty heart is the abomination of Yahweh. From hand to hand, he will not be exonerated. Through kindness and truth, iniquity will be forgiven. If through fear Yahweh one turns from evil. When Yahweh favors a man's ways, even his foes will make peace with him. Better a little through righteousness than much produce without justice. A man's heart will plot his way, and Yahweh will set his steps aright. There is a charm on the lips of a king. In judgment, his mouth will not deceive. A scale and just balances are Yahweh. His deeds are like weights in a pouch. To do, hold up, what's up with this app? To do evil is an abomination for kings, for a throne is established through righteousness. The desire of kings is righteous lips, and he will love one who speaks upright words. The king's wrath is like angels of death, but a wise man will appease it. And the light of the king's countenance is life, and his favor is like a rain cloud. His favor is like a rain cloud. I guess it just pours on him. How much better than fine gold is the acquisition of wisdom, and the acquisition of understanding is choicer than silver. The paved road of the upright is turning from evil. One who keeps his way guards his soul. Pride precedes destruction, and arrogance comes before failure. Better to be lowly of spirit with the humble than to be sharing spoils with the proud. One who understands a matter intelligently will find good success, and praiseworthy is he who trusts in Yahweh. The wise of heart will be called an understanding person, and one whose speech is sweet will gain learning. Intelligence is a source of life to its possessor, but the discipline of foolish ones is foolishness. So this damn connection today, yo. The heart of a wise man places intelligence into his mouth and increases learning on his lips. Words of pleasantness are a honeycomb, sweet to the soul and healing to the bone. There is a way that seems right to man, but at its end are the ways of death. The working spirit works for itself when its mouth humbles itself to it. The lawless man digs up evil, as if a fire burns on his lip. A duplicitous man incites strife, and a complainer estranges a ruler. The man of violence entices his companion and leads him in a way that is not good. One who shuts his eyes to think of duplicity and signals his lips has consummated evil. The crown of splendor is old age. It will be found in the path of righteousness. He who is slow to anger is better than a strong man, and the master of his passions is better than the conqueror of a city. When the lot is cast in his lap, its entire judgment has been decided by Yahweh. Chapter 17. No, that's facts though. But I used to get angry fast. I want to say I ain't really start mastering my anger till like maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And before that, man, I was quick to snap on somebody else. But I just you know what I'm saying, started meditating, starting reading the word, meditating on the word, the law, seeing that a lot of situations I got into was because of my quickness to anger. You know, like getting in fights, unnecessary fights, um, being arrested, um, just dumb shit, stupid shit. Well, this is more power in learning to control that. You know what I'm saying? Instead of getting yourself in some shit that could be avoided. Like once you can control your anger, your emotions, and you're against somebody that can't do that. Like the witnesses around will see, you know what I'm saying, you're really the one in control. Like even though like sometimes like let's say somebody like trying to start a fight with you and shit. Usually the one that is the loudest is what they say also. This was in the I think it's also in the 50 laws of power or some shit. It's like a lot of that book is in Proverbs actually. Or Proverbs is in that book. It's like the one with the most power is the one who like really don't speak as much and shit. And like people who talk too much, they reveal too much. And usually the loudest one in the room is usually the most insecure. So I learned well, I've always been kind of a quiet person. I mean, but it was just like times when somebody would like disrespect me or something. I'd be quick, you know what I'm saying? I'd be quick to snap on somebody. That was just my anger I couldn't control. But learning to control that, there's a reason they say the most quiet person in the room, they're the ones you gotta watch. Because action speaks louder than words. You know, you can't be out here showing your hand all the time and letting people know like your every move. It's like playing chess. You don't just like people know how to if people like if you show somebody how to trigger you, they got your weakness. You showed your weakness to them, and they know how to get you and get under your skin. It's very hard to get under mine, very hard, and I'm only getting better at controlling my shit. So like somebody can like say somebody tries to say somebody tries to, you know what I'm saying. Well, actually, it don't really happen because people like feel my energy in person. It's harder on the net, but people feel my energy in person. So people don't really try me like that. I haven't been tried in a long time. And if somebody that like does like test me, like they just either to look in my eyes or they can feel my energy, or I'll just say something like I ain't even gotta scream or nothing. I just say something real calm, you know what I'm saying? And then let them know, and then it just shuts that down. So it's imperative to master yourself because your rage can be your downfall. You could not, because when you're in a state of emotion and let your emotion control you, you can't really think straight. It's like when they say a fight, when you're in a fight, like say a boxing match, usually the person that loses their temper and starts going ape shit, they're gonna lose. They're gonna get knocked out because they're no longer thinking. They're basically seeing red, and their technique goes out the window. They're just swinging wild. And the person that is Bruce Lee, like water, and they still calm. They can still see the bigger picture, what it is. The other person, their vision gets smaller when you're full of anger. You're just seeing what's right there in front of you instead of everything, instead of the bigger picture, the background, and the little intricacies of everything. So the person that usually keeps their calm is going to win that fight, unless they don't know what they're doing. Then it's a different story. But usually people at the same skill level and the same weight class, whatever, they're going to win that fight. The one that mastered their emotion. So yeah, this is something I learned myself, like not being so quick to be angry, only reserving my anger for righteous anger. You know what I'm saying? When it's time to when it's time to be a warrior, be a warrior. But for the most part, I seek peace. You know what I'm saying? That's what we got to do. 17. Better a piece of bread with peace in it than a house full of contentious celebrations. An intelligent servant will rule over a shameful son, and will share the inheritance among the brothers. A refining pot is for silver and a crucible for gold, but Yahweh tests hearts. An evildoer is attentive to iniquitous speech. A false person listens to a destructive tongue. One who mocks a pauper insults his maker. One who rejoices in another's misfortune will not be exonerated. The crown of elders is grandchildren, and the glory of children is their parents. Lofty speech is unbecoming in a degraded person, and surely lying speech in a noble person. To its giver, a bribe is like a charming gem. Wherever he turns, he will succeed. One who covers an offense seeks love, but one who harps on the matter alienates a ruler from himself. Chastisement frightens an understanding one more than the smiting a fool 100 times. The rebellious one seeks only evil, and a cruel emissary will be sent against him. Better for a man to be confronted by a bear bereft of his whelps than by a fool in his foolishness. If one repays good with evil, evil will not depart from his house. The beginning of a quarrel is like releasing water. Before the argument is revealed, abandon it. Justifying an evildoer and condemning a righteous person, both are abominations to Yahweh. Why is there money in the hand of a fool to purchase wisdom, though he has not an understanding heart? A friend's love is for all times, and a brother is born for times of affliction. A man who lacks an understanding heart will give his handshake, be a cosigner for his friend. One who loves betrayal loves contention. One who opens his mouth arrogantly is asking to be broken. The perverse of heart will not find good, and one duplicitous in his tongue will fall into evil. One who begets a fool has done so to his sorrow, and the father of a degraded one will not rejoice. A glad heart is as beneficial as a cure, but a broken spirit will desiccate the bone. An evildoer will take a bribe from the lap of a giver to pervert the paths of justice. Wisdom lies before an understanding person, but a fool's eyes are in the hands of the earth. The foolish son is an annoyance to his father and a rebellion to the one who bore him. One who is not good will punish even the righteous and will smite generous people for integrity. One who is sparing with his words knows knowledge, and a man of understanding speaks sparingly. Even a fool will be considered wise if he is silent. When he seals his lips, he will be considered understanding. Hell yeah. Don't say more than you need to. But yeah, back to the actually my neighbor. I hear him kind of. It's funny how I started hearing this motherfucker lost his shit like a while ago. Basically over a female, I guess. He was just yelling outside. That's the type of shit like when you allow your especially when it comes to females. As a man, the most masculine shit you can do is not lose your temper with a female. Like I've learned that with women I dated. I learned that with my mom, my sister. Like when they used to be able, when females used to be able to get under my skin because I couldn't control my shit and people knew how to push my buttons. But now it's like it's funny because the Hebrew word for woman is like fire, right? So what's that mean? We gotta be water to balance it out. So what I learned is when a female's like, because they're emotional creatures. You know what I'm saying? Females are driven by emotion. It's just how they're wired, and men are more rational thinkers. Now it's not universal because like men usually raised by a single mother, they'll inherit, and they didn't have like a masculine male figure in their life. So like even if they had a father and the father was like a beta or whatever, most of the time when you grow up, or if you ain't had an uncle to teach you how to be a man, most of the time a man will actually be in his feminine energy. So like it be that's where the emotion comes and not knowing how to control that, but it can be worked on. But when it comes to women, she like she like you do something, especially when they on their period, right? You know what I'm saying? That's just how it is. You just gotta, that's how they're designed. You guys know that, and don't really take shit too seriously. Don't allow disrespect, but they should know that beforehand. Like, you should from the start let them know. I don't deal with this. I don't deal with that. This ain't going. This is how it's gonna be, basically. So, like, say they start, it's impossible for them to never get emotional and shit, especially the longer they're with you. But when they're getting emotional, when they're saying shit or trying to, in their feelings, if you feed into that, if you become fire when she's already fire, you're just creating a bigger fire, and then it turns to what? Turns to a fight, and then she loses respect for you. But if you stay in your masculine and you be the water, it diffuses it, and it won't be all that bickering and shit like that. So I learned that firsthand, like shit that a female would used to like get me to argue or whatever. I'll just be like, it's funny as shit. I'll just say something like smart, but not really like you know what I'm saying, sarcastic, funny but serious at the same time. And it would just like diffuse the whole shit. So you gotta definitely be short with your words and control your tongue. You're gonna let people know without losing your shit, and it'll make you actually look wiser, and it will diffuse a lot of unnecessary incidents. Oh yeah. Chapter 18. One who removes himself to court lust will be exposed in every Torah conclave. The fool does not desire understanding, except when his essence is revealed. With the arrival of an evildoer, scorn arrives, and with a man of disgrace there comes an insult. The words of man's mouth are deep waters. The source of wisdom is like a flowing stream. To show favor to an evildoer is not good. It turns astray the judgment of a righteous person. The lips of the fool will come forth in contention, and his mouth will invite blows upon himself. The mouth of a fool brings destruction to himself, and his lips are a stumbling block to his soul. The words of a complainer are like blows, and they descend to the chambers of one's inners. One who grows lax in his work is also a brother to the master of destruction. The name of Yahweh is a tower of strength. Through it, a righteous person will race and be strong. The treasure of a wealthy person is his city of strength, and like a high wall in his chambers. Prior to his destruction, a man's heart grows haughty, but prior to honor, there is humility. He who answers before he has heard, it will be foolishness and humiliation for him. A man's spirit will sustain him in his sickness, but who can support a broken spirit? An understanding heart will acquire knowledge, but the ear of the wise must seek wisdom. A man's gift broadens access for him and leads him before the great. The first to present his case seems righteous in his grievance. Then his fellow arrives and he is interrogated. The lottery can put quarrels to rest and cause the contentious to move apart. Better a wronged brother than a fortified city. And though they quarrel, they are like a palace boat. They tight. A man's stomach will be sated with the fruits of his mouth, and he will be sated with the produce of his lips. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Those who love it to use it will eat its fruit. One who has found a wife has found goodness, and has brought forth favor from Yahweh. A pauper utters supplications, but a rich one responds with brazen words. A man with friends is befriended. Sometimes a friend is closer than a brother. 19. Better a pauper who walks in his innocence than one who perverts his lips and is a fool. Also, for the soul to be without knowledge is not good, and he who quickens his feet without reflection is a sinner. A man's foolishness corrupts his way, and his heart rages against Yahweh. Wealth adds many friends, but the poor man is parted from his fellow. A witness saying falsehoods will not be exonerated, and a spouter of lies will not escape. Many court the presence of a patron, and all befriend a man with gifts. All the pauper's brothers hate him. Surely his friends withdraw from him. Though he pursues them with words, the words remain his. One who acquires understanding loves his soul, guarding understanding to find good. A witness saying falsehoods will not be exonerated. Oh wait, did I read that already? Oh no, it doubled up. Will not be exonerated, and the spouter of lies will go lost. Pleasure does not befit a fool. Surely it is not fitting for a servant to rule over dignitaries. It is intelligent of a person to be slow to anger, and his splendor to ignore an offense. Like the roar of a young lion, so is the wrath of a king, and like dew upon grass is his favor. A foolish son is a father's heartbreak, and a contentious woman is like an irksome dripping. A house and wealth are an inheritance from fathers, but an intelligent woman comes from Yahweh. Laziness casts one into slumber, and the deceptive soul will go hungry. He who observes a commandment safeguards his soul. One who scorns his proper ways will die. Hmm. Bro, they clearly say observing commandments gives you life, and not following them, you gonna die. So anybody that's not following the Torah and they worrying if they gonna live or die, that tells you right there, not keeping Torah. That's why you're afraid. Where was I at? A house and wealth are an inheritance from fathers. Oh wait, I read that already. I'm tripping. Scorns his proper ways will die. One who is gracious to the poor has lent to Yahweh, and he will pay him with his reward. Discipline your son, for there is hope. Let your soul not be swayed by his protests. A person of great wrath will bear punishment, for if you rescue him, his wrath will only grow. Hear counsel and accept discipline in order that you grow wise in your later days. Many designs are in a man's heart, but the counsel of Yahweh, only it will prevail. Longing for a person is for his kindness, but a pauper is better than a rich man who deceives. The fear of Yahweh, that's facts. All you really have is your name, man. No matter which fuck what you got, what your name worth. The fear of Yahweh brings life. Such a person will rest sated and not be remembered for evil. The lazy one buries his hand in the dish. He will not even return it to his mouth. Strike the scoffer, and the simpleton grows clever. Chastise an understanding person, and he will understand even more knowledge. He despoils his father and drives out his mother, the son who shames and humiliates. To obey discipline, my son, is to cease to stray from words of knowledge. The lawless witness will mock judgment, and the mouth of the wicked will swallow his words of iniquity. Judgments are ready for the scoffers, and blows for the back of fools. 20. Wine makes a scoffer. Strong drink makes one cry out, and whoever errs after it will not grow wise. Like the roar of a young lion, so is the terror of a king. One who angers him forfeits his soul. Abstention from quarrel is a man's honor, but every foolish one reveals himself in it. Because of the winter cold, a sluggard will not plow. He will desire a crop at harvest time, but it will not be there. Counsel is like deep water in the heart of man, and the man of understanding will draw them forth. Among most people, each man proclaims his kindness, but who can find an honest man? One who walks in his innocence is a righteous man. Fortunate are his sons after him. When the king sits on the seat of judgment, he scatters all who are evil in his eyes. Who can say, I have cleansed my heart, I have purified myself from my sin? A weight and a weight, a measure and a measure, both of them are an abomination of Yahweh. Even a youth can be recognized by his deeds, whether his acts are pure or just. A hearing ear and a seeing eye. Yahweh made both of them. Do not love sleep lest you become impoverished. Open your eyes, then you will be sated with food. Bad, bad, the buyer says. But when he goes his way, then he boasts. There is gold and many pearls, but lips of wisdom are a precious vessel. Take the garment of one who cosigns for a stranger, or offers collateral for an alien woman. The bread of falsehood is sweet to man, but afterwards his mouth will be filled with gravel. Thoughts conceived in the council will be firm. Wage war with strategies. With a revealer of secrets, a bearer of tales, or a simpleton of lips, do not mingle. One who curses his father or mother, his light will flicker out in the deepening darkness. And it says the light is his soul. If an inheritance is seized hastily in the beginning, its end will not be blessed. Do not say, I will pay retribution for evil. Hope to Yahweh and he will help you. Having one weight and a different weight is an abomination of Yahweh. And scales of deceit are not good. A man's steps are from Yahweh, but what does a man understand of his way? A man's stumbling in sin undermines his sanctity, and his remedy is to seek vows of atonement. A wise king scatters the wicked and turns the wheel measure for measure upon them. A man's soul is the lamp of Yahweh, which searches the chambers of one's innards. Kindness and truth protect the king. He sustains his throne in kindness. The splendor of youth is their strength, and the glory of the old is their hoariness. Bruises and wounds purge evil, as do blows to the chambers of one's innards. 21. Like streams of water is the heart of a king in the hand of Yahweh. Wherever he wishes, so he directs it. A man's every way is right in his eyes, but Yahweh resides in his heart. Doing what is right and just is preferable to Yahweh than an offering. Haughty eyes and a proud heart are the plotting of the wicked, a sin. The thoughts of the zealous are purely beneficial, but all hastiness is only for loss. That's facts, yo. I learned that in trading the markets, yo. Patience is a virtue. The accumulation of treasures through a false tongue is smitten vapor. They seek death. The robbery of the wicked will cause them to fear, for they refuse to execute justice. The way of a man is sometimes inconsistent and strange, but a pure one's every deed is upright. But to dwell on a corner, better to dwell on a corner of a roof than to dwell with a contentious wife in the house of friends. The soul of the evildoer desires evil. His companion in evil will not find favor in his eyes. Shalom Daram. When the scoffer is punished, the simpleton gains wisdom, and when the wise one receives instruction, he gains knowledge. A righteous person brings success to the house of the evildoer, which corrupts the wicked toward evil. One who shuts his ear to the cry of the pauper, he too will call out and will not be answered. An anonymous gift will cover up anger, and a bribe in the bosom will appease strong wrath. Performance of justice is a joy to the righteous, and destruction to workers of iniquity. A person who wanders from the intelligent way will rest in the congregation of the dead. The lover of pleasure will be a man who lacks. The lover of wine and oil will not grow rich. But that's facts, yo. That's another thing that goes into the what's it called? Delaying instant gratification. You know what I'm saying? Wanting everything right now. Loving that pleasure. Needing like somebody that can't stop eating, they gotta eat right now. That's where the fasting comes in. Fasting builds that discipline. Or if you like being comfortable all the time. Comfortability kills. You gotta, you know what I'm saying, face adversity. even putting yourself in adversity. Like one thing I do, I started I used to be a night owl, but I wanted to, before I started trading the markets, I would have to trade London session. So that's at 3 in the morning. So I trained myself to stop being a night owl. I started trying to go to bed at 7, 8 o'clock, waking up 2, 3 in the morning every day, hitting the gym 5 a.m., cold showers. That's another thing that builds discipline. Instead of being a lover of pleasure, being comfortable all the time, you build yourself through making yourself endure hardship and adversity. That's just for real. If you're always seeking pleasure, you're not gonna turn out. You're not gonna hit your potential. Even when it comes to sex, like you are busting gallons of nuts every damn day, you're gonna have your energy's going. You're gonna be like a damn zombie. There's a time to abstain. You know what I'm saying? What was I at? And also, like, instead of, like people that like they gotta buy something now, or I just got paid, I gotta spend my whole check instead of saving or investing it. That's that love and pleasure. You ain't gonna grow rich. You gotta turn up every day. You gotta eat out every day. You gotta get all the new shit. Jordans came out. Oh, I gotta drop all my money on the Jordans. PS5. Damn, you struggling to pay rent because you gotta rent. You gotta lease a damn Lambo just to look good for everybody instead of delaying instant gratification. Fuck the pleasure. I'm a, you know what I'm saying? What's it called? I'm gonna put it to the side for now. Do what I gotta do now. Fuck looking good for everybody. I'm gonna invest my shit, and it's gonna be better in the long run. Fuck leasing the motherfucking Lambo. It'd be dumb to own a Lambo unless you rent it out to rappers and shit. Cause them motherfuckers cost like what, $1 million? Then the oil changes on that bitch is like shit. Fuck that. But what I'm saying is you gotta not put pleasure over discipline, because what you do and when you keep in mind for the future, you gotta keep the future in mind and not just think for the day all the time. There's time to think for the day, but there's also majority of the times you gotta think long term. And you'll be straight. I mean, one thing you can do with your kids, give them a test. Take out like jelly beans or whatever candy they like or something, or pennies or something, and be like, you ask them, would you rather have 10 pieces of candy right now or wait 5 days and have 100 pieces of candy? And see what they say. Then you explain to them denying the pleasure of now, because it's a trap. Denying the pleasure of now to have even greater things later. Because you can have that 10 pieces of candy right now, or whatever it may be. Candy probably a bad example, but you can have it right now, or you can delay the instant gratification, the pleasure, and do the things that are beneficial, and you'll have it even better off later. So yeah, evil, the evildoer will be an atonement for the righteous one. Well, that kills JC, and the faithless one for the upright. Better to dwell in a wasteland with a woman of contention. No, Better to dwell in a wasteland than with a woman of contention and anger. A desirable treasure in oil endures in the abode of the wise, but the fool of a man swallows it up. One who pursues righteousness and kindness will find life, righteousness and honor. The wise one went up to the city of the strong and brought down the strength of his trust. One who guards his mouth and his tongue guards his soul from troubles. The boastful, willful man, scoffer is his name. The arrogant evildoer, he is a willful man. The lust of the sluggard will kill him, for his hands refuse to work. All day long he will court lust, and the righteous one will give to him and not hold back. The offering of the wicked is an abomination, and surely when they bring it with impure design, the testimony of falsehoods will be lost. But the man who hears it will speak of it eternally. A wicked person shows his audacity on his face, but the upright one considers his way. There is neither. The fuck is that? What the hell? That should sound like a damn alien. A wicked person. Hold on, I read that already. There is neither wisdom nor understanding nor counsel against Yahweh. Horse is ready for the day of battle, but salvation is Yahweh's. 22. A good name is preferred to wealth, and goodly favor than silver and gold. The rich man and the pauper meet. Yahweh is the maker of them all. A clever person sees evil and hides, but simpletons pass on and are punished. The result of humility is fear of Yahweh, wealth, honor, and life. Thorns and snares on the path are in the path of the perverse. He who guards his soul will distance himself from them. Train the youth according to his way. Even when he grows old, he will not swerve from it. A rich man dominates paupers, and a debtor is a servant to the creditor. One who sows injustice will reap iniquity, and the rod of his fury will destroy it. One with a good eye will be blessed, for he has given of his bread to the poor. Drive away the scoffer, and strife will depart, and judgment and shame will cease. He who loves purity of heart, and whose lips are gracious, the king is his friend. The eyes of Yahweh protect knowledge, and he perverts the words of the faithless one. A lazy person says, "There is a lion outside, I will be killed in the midst of the streets." The mouth of heresy is a deep pit. The scorned of Yahweh will fall there. Foolishness is bound in the heart of a youth. The rod of discipline will distance it from him. He who oppresses the destitute to increase for himself, or who makes gifts to the rich, it is only for a loss. Incline your ear and hear the words of the wise. Set your heart to my knowledge. For it is pleasant if you guard them in your innards and establish all of them upon your lips. Let your trust remain with Yahweh. I have made this known to you today, you also. Surely I have written it for you in the Torah, extremely noble things, with counsel and knowledge, to teach you the veracity of true words, so that you may answer words of truth to those who send word to you. Do not rob the destitute because he is destitute, and do not oppress the poor man in the gate of judgment. For Yahweh will take up their grievance. He will steal the soul of those who will steal from them. Do not befriend an angry man, and do not come together with a man of wrath, lest you learn his ways and take a snare for your soul. Do not be among those who shake hands, among the guarantors for loans. If you have no money to pay, why should he take your bedding from beneath you? Do not move back the long-standing boundary marker that your forefathers established. Have you seen a man with alacrity in his work? He will stand before kings. He will not stand before men of darkness. Yeah, got moving that boundary. Saying you got ain't no left or right, you know what I'm saying? It's that straight walk. You know, ain't no fitting trying to give leniency to shit that ain't in the law to fulfill our will. Nah, those boundaries are set in stone, and the stone is the tablets of the Torah. We don't move it. We don't alter it. We don't add, take away from it. What it is what it is. 23. When you sit down to dine with a ruler, know well what lies before you, and put a knife to your throat if you are master of your soul. Do not lust for his delicacies, for it is deceitful bread. Do not weary yourself to become rich. Forbear from your own understanding. You cast your eyes upon wealth, and it is gone, for it makes itself wings for itself, and like an eagle, it soars to the heavens. Do not eat the bread of the miserly, and do not lust for his delicacies, for as one who fantasizes in his soul, so is he. Eat and drink, he will tell you, but his heart will not be with you. The loaf you have eaten you will regurgitate, and you will have wasted your pleasant words. Speak not in the ears of a fool, for he will scorn the intelligence of your words. Do not move back the long-standing boundary marker, and do not enter into orphans' fields, for their Redeemer is strong, and he will take up their grievance against you. Present your heart for discipline and your ears for words of knowledge. Do not withhold discipline from the youth. If you strike him with the rod, he will not die. You should strike him with the rod, and you will rescue his soul from the grave. My child, when your heart becomes wise, then my heart too will rejoice. And my yearnings will exult when your lips speak righteous words. Let your heart not envy sinners, rather those who revere Yahweh all the day, for it shall endure, and your hope will not be cut off. Hear you, my child, and grow wise, and stride in the way of your heart. Do not be among the guzzlers of wine, and among the gorgers of meat for themselves. For the guzzler and the gorger will be poor, and slumber will clothe you in tatters. Give ear to your father, who begot you. And though your mother may be old, do not scorn her. Purchase truth, do not sell it. Wisdom, discipline, and understanding. The father of a righteous person will be mirthful. One who begets a wise child will rejoice in him. Your father and your mother will be glad, and the one who bore you will rejoice. My child, give your heart to me, and your eyes will desire my ways. For the harlot is a deep pit, and the strange woman is a narrow well. She too lurks to snatch and multiply the faithless among men. Who cries, alas? Who cries, woe? Who is contentious? Who prattles? Who is wounded for naught? Whose eyes are red? Those who linger over wine, those who come to inquire over mixed drinks. Do not look at wine becoming red, for to one who fixes his eyes on the goblet, all paths are right. His end is like that of one bitten by a snake, like one dispatched by a serpent. Your eyes will see strange things, and your heart will speak duplicities. And you will be like one who sleeps in the heart of the sea, like one who lies on top of a mast. In your drunkenness you will say, they struck me, but I did not become ill. They beat me, but I was unaware. When will I awaken? I will continue asking for more wine. 24. Do not envy men of evil, and do not desire to be with them, for their hearts contemplate spoils, and their lips speak mischief. Through wisdom a house is built, and it is established through understanding, and through knowledge the chambers become filled with all dear and pleasant treasures. The wise man remains steadfast, and the man of knowledge grows stronger. For through wise strategies you can wage war for your benefit, and salvation is an abundant counsel. But to a foolish one, wisdom is an unattainable gem. He will not open his mouth at the gate. One who thinks of doing evil will be called a master of wicked designs. Foolish designs are a sin, and scoffing makes a man abominable. If you are weak in another's day of affliction, your strength will become limited. If you desist from rescuing those being put to death, and those on the way to be murdered, yet you say, surely we did not know this, but the one who resides in hearts, he understands, and the protector of your soul, he knows, and he recompenses a man according to his deeds. Eat honey, my child, for it is good, and drippings of the honeycomb are sweet on your palate. So is knowledge of wisdom to your soul, if you have found it, for it is a lasting outcome, and your hope will not be cut off. Do not lurk, O wicked one, near the habitation of the righteous one. Do not plunder his resting place. For though the righteous one may fall 7 times, he will arise. But the wicked ones will stumble through evil. When your foe falls, be not glad. And when he stumbles, let your heart not be joyous. Lest Yahweh see and it be displeasing in his eyes, and he turn his anger from him to you. Do not assimilate among evildoers. Do not envy the wicked, for there will be no lasting outcome to evil. But the lamp of the wicked shall die out. Fear Yahweh, my child, and the king. Do not mix with inconsistent people, for their disaster will arise suddenly, and who knows the punishment of both. These things too are for the wise to consider. Showing favoritism in judgment is not good. One who tells a wicked person you are righteous, the peoples will curse him. The nations will anathemize him. The reprovers should be pleasant, and the good blessing will come upon them. The lips of one who responds with proper words should be kissed. Prepare your work outside and provide yourself in the field. Provide for yourself in the field. Then build your house. Do not offer vain testimony against your fellow, to endear yourself with your lips, and do not say, "As he has done for me, so will I do for him. I will reward the man according to his acts." I passed by the field of a lazy man, and by the vineyard of a man lacking an understanding heart. And behold, it was all overgrown with thorns. Nettles had covered its surface, and its stone wall was broken down. When I saw this, I set my heart to understand. I saw and accepted discipline. A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to recline. Then your poverty will come like a traveler, and your lacking like an armed man. 25. Shalom out. These two are the Proverbs of King Solomon, which were copied by the men of Hezekiah, king of Judah. It is the honor of Elohim to conceal a matter, but it is the honor of kings to search out a matter. The heavens for height, the earth for depth, and the hearts of kings cannot be fathomed. When dross is removed from silver, a vessel can emerge for the refiner. When an evil doer is removed from the king, his throne is established in righteousness. Do not glorify yourself in the presence of the king, and do not stand in the place of the great, for it is better that it should be said to you, "Come up here," than that you be demoted before the prince, and as your eyes have seen happen to others. Do not be quick to enter into strife, unless you know what you will do in the end, when your fellow humiliates you. Pursue your quarrel with your friend, but do not reveal another's confidence, lest the listener disgrace you and you be unable to retract your slander. Like golden apples carved on silver plates, so is a word spoken from in its proper place. Like a golden nose ring and an ornament of fine gold, so is the reproof of the wise upon a heedful ear. Like a cooling snow on a harvest day, so is a faithful emissary to his sender. He refreshes his master's soul. Like clouds and wind without rain, so is one who lauds himself for a false gift. By forbearance a ruler is mollified, and a soft tongue breaks anger. Well, a soft tongue breaks strong anger. When you find honey, eat what is sufficient for you, lest you be satiated and vomited up. Let your feet be scarce in your fellow's house, lest he be satiated with you and come to hate you. A mole, a sword, and a sharp arrow is someone who bears false witness against his fellow. Like a broken tooth and a slipping foot, so is a trust betrayed in the day of distress. Like an ornamental garment on a cold day, like vinegar upon the tron, so is one who sings songs upon a sorrowful heart. If your foe is hungry, feed him bread, and if he is thirsty, give him water to drink. For you will be scooping coals to heap on his head, and Yahweh will reward you. As the north wind brings forth rain, so does stealthy slander bring forth an angry face. Better is dwelling on the corner of a roof than dwelling with a contentious wife, even in the house of friends. Like cold water on a weary soul, so is good news from a distant land. Like a muddy spring in a ruined fountain, so is a righteous one who bows before the evildoer. Eating too much honey is not good, but searching out the honor of the righteous is honorable. Like a breached city without a wall, so is a man with no constraint to his spirit. 26. Like snow in the summer and rain at the harvest, so does honor not befit a fool. Like a bird that wanders off, like a swallow that flies off, so an unwarranted curse comes back to he who utters it. Amen. A whip for a horse. I'm gonna say amen. However you say it in Hebrew. I'm gonna say it like a heathen say it. A whip for the horse, a bridle for the donkey, and a rod for the back of fools. Do not answer a fool according to his foolishness, lest you also be considered like him. Answer a fool according to his foolishness, lest he be wise in his own eyes. One will cut off his own feet and drink rancer, however you say that shit, if one sends messages with a fool. Like the limp hanging thighs of the cripple, so is a parable in the mouth of fools. Like one who loads a stone into a sling, so is one who gives honor to a fool. Like a thorn in the hand of a drunkard, so is a parable in the mouth of fools. A contentious person may cause many deaths. He hires the fool and he hires adventurers. Like a dog that returns to his vomit, so is a fool who repeats his foolishness. Have you seen a man who is wise in his own eyes? There is more hope for a fool than him. A lazy person says, there is a young lion on the path, a lion between the streets. The door turns on its hinges and a lazy person on his bed. The lazy one buries his hand in the dish. He is too weary to return it to his mouth. The lazy one is wiser in his own eyes than 7 who answer sensibly. Like one who seizes a dog's ears, so is one who grows wrathful over a dispute that is not his. Like someone who wears himself out throwing firebrands, arrows, and lethal objects. So is a man who deceives his fellow and says, surely I was joking. Just as when there is no wood, the fire goes out. So when no one complains, strife is silenced. Like kindling to coals and twigs to a fire, so is the contentious man to kindling strife. The words of the complainer are like blows, and they descend to the chambers of the stomach. Like silver dross coating earthenware, so are hotly pursuing lips above an evil heart. With his lips the foe acts estranged from hatred, but within himself he casts deceit. Though his voice is ingratiating, do not trust him, for there are 7 abominations in his heart. Though his hatred is covered by darkness, his evil will be revealed in public. He who digs a pit will fall into it, and he who rolls a stone will have it turned back upon him. It's that karma. A lying tongue hates those it oppresses, but a smooth mouth will turn the hatred back. 27. Do not boast about tomorrow, for you know not what a day may bring. Let another praise you, not your own mouth. A stranger, not your own lips. A stone has weight and sand has mass, but the anger of a fool is heavier than both. Wrath is cruelty, and anger is torrential, but who can withstand envy? Open rebuke is good, if it stems from hidden love. Faithful are the wounds inflicted by a lover, but superfluous are the kisses of a foe. The sated soul will trample a honeycomb, but to the hungry soul all bitter is sweet. Like a bird wandering from his nest, so is a man who wanders from his place. Oil and incense gladden the heart, so does the sweetness of one's friend from his sincere counsel. Do not forsake your friend and the friend of your father. Do not come to your brother's house in the day of your misfortune. A close neighbor is better than a distant brother. Grow wise, my child, and gladden my heart. Then I will have an answer for those who humiliate me. A shrewd person recognizes evil and hides, but simpletons go on and are punished. Take the garment of one who cosigns for a stranger or offers collateral for an alien woman. Hold up. If one blesses his friend loudly from early in the morning, it will be considered a curse to him. An irksome dripping on the day of rainy confinement and a contentious wife are alike. He who would hide her would hide the wind, as one's right hand proclaims the oil with which it was anointed. As iron sharpens iron, so a man sharpens his fellow. The protector of a fig tree will eat its fruit, and the guardian of his master will be honored. As water reflects a face back to a face, so one's heart is reflected back to him by another. As the grave and Gehinnom are not sated, so the eyes of man are not sated. A refining pot is for silver, and a crucible for gold, and a man according to his praises. If you crush a foolish person in a mortar with softened grain and pound him with a pestle, you will not remove his foolishness from him. Know well the faces of your sheep. Set your heart to the flocks, for strength endures not forever. Does the crown of wealth last from generation to generation? Sometimes grass sprouts and vegetation is seen. That's a lot. Vegetation is seen, but sometimes the herbage of the mountain is depleted. Let the land be your clothing, and let the he-goats be as valuable as a field to you, and let the milk of goats be sufficient for your food and for the food of your household, and give life to your maidens. 28. The wicked flee, though none pursue, but the righteous are confident as a young lion. Through the perfidy of the land, its officers increase, but through an understanding, knowing man, it will prolong its days. A pauper who robs the destitute is like a torrential rain, which leaves no food. Those who forsake the Torah praise the wicked, but the keepers of Torah contend with them. Men of evil will not discern the inevitable judgment, but those who seek Yahweh will understand all. Better a poor man who walks in his innocence than a rich man who perverts his ways. One who preserves the Torah is an understanding son, but the companion of swillers humiliates his father. One who multiplies his wealth through interest and increase gathers it for the for the patron of the poor. If one turns aside his ear from hearing the Torah, his prayer too will be considered an abomination. One who causes the upright to stray on an evil way will fall into his own pit, but the innocent will inherit goodness. A rich man is wise in his own eyes, but a destitute person with understanding can search out more. When the righteous exult, there is much splendor, but when the wicked rise, victims are sought. One who conceals his sins will not succeed, but he who confesses and forsakes them will be granted mercy. Praiseworthy is the man who always fears, but he who is stubborn of heart will fall into misfortune. Like a roaring lion and a growling bear, so is a wicked ruler over destitute people. A prince who lacks understanding will increase plunder, but one who hates spoil will prolong his days. A man guilty of bloodshed will flee into the grave. No one will support him. One who walks in innocence will be saved, but one who perverts his ways will fall in one of the ways. One who works his hand will be sated with bread, but one who chases vain pursuits will be sated with poverty. A man of integrity will increase blessings, but one impatient to be rich will not be exonerated. To show favoritism in judgment is not good. For a loaf of bread as a bribe, man will have become a sinner. One over-eager for wealth has an evil eye. He does not know that want may befall him. One who reproves a person will later find favor, more than one with a flattering tongue. He who steals from his father and mother and says there is no sin, he is a companion to a destructive person. A greedy person stirs up strife. Greedy person stirs up strife. But one who trusts Yahweh will have abundance. One who trusts his heart is a fool, but one who walks with wisdom will escape. One who gives to a pauper will not lack, but one who averts his eyes will suffer many curses. When the wicked rise, men hide, but when they perish, the righteous increase. 29. A man deserving rebukes stiffens his neck. He will be broken suddenly, with none to heal him. When the righteous are ascendant, the people will be glad, but in the rule of the wicked, the people will groan. A man who loves wisdom gladdens his father, but the companion of harlots will lose a fortune. Through justice a king establishes a land, but a man of graft tears it down. One who deceives his fellow through flattery is spreading a net for his own footsteps. The offense of a wicked person is a snare, but a righteous person will sing and be glad. A righteous person knows the oppression of the poor, but an evil person will not understand such knowledge. Scoffing men will inflame the city, but the wise will turn back anger. When a wise man contends with a foolish one, the wise man may rage or laugh, but will have no satisfaction. The bloody man hate an innocent person, but the upright seek to cleave to his soul. The fool vents all his anger, but the wise man comes afterwards and assuages it. If a ruler hearkens to falsehood, all his servants are wicked. The poor man and the broken man have their fate ordained, but Yahweh will enlighten the eyes of both. If a king judges the destitute honestly, his throne will be established forever. The rod and rebuke provide wisdom, but a self-indulgent youth brings shame to his mother. When wicked people increase, offense increases, but the righteous will see their downfall. Discipline your son, and he will give you peace, and he will give pleasures to your soul. When there is no prophecy, the people become unrestrained, but one who keeps Torah is praiseworthy. With words, the servant will not be disciplined, though he understands, there is no response. Have you seen a man who is hasty in his affairs? There is more hope for the fool than for him. If one indulges his servant from youth, he will end up being ruled by him. A man of anger will incite strife, and a man of wrath is full of offense. A man's pride will bring him low, but a lowly spirit will support his honor. He who shares with a thief hates his own soul. He will hear an oath, but he will not testify. Fear of man will add a snare, but one who trusts in Yahweh will be encouraged. Many solicit a ruler's favor, but a man's judgment is from Yahweh. A man of iniquity is the abomination of the righteous, and one who walks an upright path is the abomination of the wicked. 30. These are the words of Agur, son of Jakeh, the prophecy, the words of this man to Ithiel and Ukal. Surely I am a boor of a man, and do not have human understanding. I have not learned wisdom, nor known sacred knowledge. Who but Moses ascended to heaven and descended? Who else gathered the wind in his palm? Who else lied the waters in the cloak? Who established all the ends of the earth? What is his name and what is his son's name, if you know? Every word of Elohim is refined. He is a shield to those who trust in him. Do not add to his words, lest he test you and find that you deceived. I ask two things of you. Do not withhold them from before me. Do not withhold them from me before I die. Keep vanity and falseness far from me. Give me neither poverty nor wealth, but allot me my daily bread. Lest I be sated and deny you and say, who is Yahweh? And lest I become impoverished and steal, and take the name of my Elohim in a vain oath of innocence. Do not slander, not even a servant to his master, lest he curse you and you be made desolate. Nor a generation that curses its father and does not bless its mother, nor a generation that is pure in its own eyes and does not cleanse itself of its filth, nor a generation whose eyes are very haughty and whose eyelids are arched, nor a generation whose teeth are swords and whose molars are knives, to devour the poor from the land and the destitute from mankind. The grave has two daughters that say, give me, give me. There are three that are never sated, indeed four that never say enough. The grave, the sealed womb, the land unsated with water, and the fire which never says enough. The eye that mocks a father and scorns a mother's accumulated lure. The ravens of the stream will gouge it out, and the young eagles will eat it. There are three that are beyond me, and a fourth that I do not know. The way of an eagle in the heavens, the way of a snake upon a rock, the way of a ship in the heart of the sea, and the way of a man with a young woman. Such is the way of the adulterous woman. She eats and wipes her mouth and says, I have done no wrong. Because of three things the earth trembles, and because of a fourth she cannot bear it. Because of a slave who reigns, because of a scoundrel who is sated with bread, because of a hateful woman when she is married, and because of a maidservant who inherits the place of her mistress. There are four among the small creatures of earth who are wise, having been made wise by the Creator. The ants are a nation that is not strong, yet they prepare their food in the summer. Rabbits are a nation that is not powerful, yet they make their abode in the rock. There is no king of the locusts, yet they all go out in a single swarm. The spider seizes its prey with its handiwork, though it dwells in the king's palace. There are three that step securely, and a fourth that walks with confidence. The lion is the strongest of the animals, and does not turn back from anything. The thigh-belted greyhound, the he-goat, and the king against whom none can stand. If you have been abused, remain aloof. And if you had thoughts of responding in kind, put your hand to your mouth. For the squeezing of milk produces butter. The squeezing of the nose produces blood, and the squeezing of anger produces strife. 31. The words of Lemuel the king, the prophecy with which his mother disciplined him. What is it, my son, and what is it, O son of my womb? And what is it, O son of my vows? Give not your strength to women, and let your conduct not destroy the protocol of kings. It is not proper for kings who belong to Elohim. It is not proper for kings to drink much wine, and for princes to imbibe strong drink. That's because they got that crown of Elohim on their head, and kings ain't really supposed to, it's supposed to be the Nazirs. You're supposed to mess with all that. Lest he drink and forget the statute of the Torah and pervert the judgment of all the children of the poor. Give strong drink to the woe-begone, and wine to those of embittered soul. Let him drink and forget his poverty, and not remember his travail any more. Open your mouth on behalf of the mute, and the judgment of all confused children. Open your mouth, judge righteously, and obtain justice for the poor and destitute. An accomplished woman, who can find? Far beyond pearls is her value. Her husband's heart relies on her, and he shall lack no fortune. She bestows goodness upon him, never evil, all the days of her life. She seeks wool and flax, and her hands work willingly. She is like a merchant ship. From afar she brings her sustenance. She arises while it is yet night, and gives food to her household and a portion to her maidens. She envisions a field and buys it. From the fruit of her handiwork she plants a vineyard. With strength she girds her loins, and invigorates her arms. She discerns that her enterprise is good. Her lamp is not snuffed out by night. She stretches out her hand to the distaff, and her palms support the spindle. She spreads out her palm to the poor, and extends her hands to the destitute. She fears not snow for her household, for all her household is clothed in scarlet wool. She made for herself luxurious bedspreads, linen and purple wool are her clothing. Her husband is distinctive in the councils, when he sits with the elders of the land. She makes a cloak and sells it, and delivers a belt to the peddler. Strength and majesty are her raiment, and she joyfully awaits the last day. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue. She anticipates the ways of her household and does not eat the bread of laziness. Her children have risen and praised her, her husband, and he extolled her. Many women have amassed achievement, but you surpass them all. Grace is false, and beauty vain. A woman who fears Yahweh, she should be praised. Give her the fruits of her hands, and let her be praised in the gates by her very deeds. Bro, you find a woman like that, bro? That's the only kind of woman you should want, really, shit. But yeah, that's all the Proverbs. Gems upon gems in Proverbs. It's a book. It's one of them books that, besides the Torah, it's one of them books that the whole nation should read together, really. I think it would prevent a lot of the bullshit that we go through as a nation. And some people don't really there's people that, like Torah only, that don't consider Proverbs canon. So they may not respect it. But even if it ain't, you can't tell me that's not wisdom. regardless. And it all falls in line with the law. It's kind of, in a way, it's kind of like it explains the law, like certain laws, as in loving your neighbor, loving your brother, um, loving your father, and your, honoring your father and mother. It kind of expounds on those. It's in a way, it's kind of like an oral law in itself. It just explains even deeper those commandments, like how to restrain from strife and and put in anger, like trying to make anger your last resort, basically, and saving it for when it's really needed. That's why I hate that nobody fucking shows up to these readings, bro. I really do. Especially this one. Especially this one. This is the second time I read Proverbs. Last time there was more people. This is actually the first book I started reading on here. I just didn't have it in the Tanakh room. I didn't make the club yet. I did Proverbs and Ecclesiastes. And these are the ones, the main people that need to hear the shit and never hear. This like, besides the Torah, this is one of them books we gotta meditate in also. I try to live by the Proverbs. Ecclesiastes got wisdom too also. So Solomon, wise as hell. Why? But so wise they lead upon his own understanding. But we learn from that. We learn from him. So if we're not even half as wise as him, we learn from him, his example, and we can avoid the pitfalls that he fell into. Man, what I really want to do, bro, and get this community going, and I want to legit, like they said, I mean, somebody was talking about write it on the doorpost of your wall. I want to legit do that, like, insides of the house, outside of the house, have Torah inscribed in that shit. So like, you wake up, you just see it everywhere. You just see Torah written all over, ceiling, outside, bathroom. Read the Torah while you taking the shit, man. You ain't even got to bring your book in there and get it dirty. Shit on the wall. They need to have damn, them glasses. You know how, what's that movie? It's like this. It's an old ass movie, but dude puts these glasses on and he sees the world for what it is, right? And then you got people that's reading the book and they have the JC glasses on, the JC lenses, where they see him everywhere. Well, we need to have, like where it says, inscribe these words on your heart and your soul, your mind. We need to have some Torah glasses. Like you put them things on and you just see the Torah in the background. Everything you're looking through is through the eyes of the Most High Torah. Kind of like fringes, they remind you to they remind you to they remind you to conduct yourself according to the law, in public or anywhere. Kind of the same thing. But yeah, y'all, shit. I'm gonna close the room out. I'm gonna make me some chamomile, wind down. We got tomorrow. We have Job tomorrow. What pages is this? Job. Job. We'll probably get through Job tomorrow too. Unless we want to expound on a lot of stuff, but should be able to get through that too. But alright, y'all. Appreciate y'all coming and listening. Most High have favor on you. May He strengthen you. Put his wings of protection and angels surround you. And put understanding in your heart. And have forgiveness and mercy if it's required, whenever required. That we should always be in supplication mode. Because we're just fucking dust. Dust under His feet. Yeah, y'all. I'm going to close the room. If anybody want to open the room, I'll hop in for a little bit before I slump out. Shalom.